Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moodie.
And I'm Wajahat, and I don't have measles because I'm vaccinated. How about you?
Same. You know, just a shot in the arm just seems to make a whole lot of sense, but
Didn't do that much special stuff. Just was a kid, got the jab, never got measles, never got smallpox, never got polio. That's just me. Maybe I'm special. Maybe I have special antigens thanks to my dark melanin.
Yes, well, according to our health secretary, that is the case. And you and I probably didn't need the shots and wasted them when they should have gone to good whites. Folks, what a like I don't even know. Let's just begin. So here's where we are. This is basically the United States. We laugh so that we do not cry. Trump Vance make Russia great again. Waj, look, this face, Christiane Amanpour's face and her TikTok that she did, which we'll play, but like this face was literally, I think, all of America except for MAGA Republicans who can see nothing other than Donald Trump being great and not a bastard toddler in the Oval Office. But was this your face when you were watching the video?
So I think we recorded our show and then we posted it. And probably like an hour later or so, I think this meeting with Zelensky happened. And we were like, man, I was like, we should have gone live 1 hour later. We had no idea. Because usually these Oval Office meetings, for when back in the day, folks, when we actually had a real president who wasn't a dog of Putin, the actual fights, folks, happened behind closed doors. So these Oval Office pressers were mostly ceremonial. You come out, you drink tea. If you're like Biden, you have the world's biggest raging bonfire behind you as you welcome Donald Trump, right? It's like hi, he, ha, ha, how are you? I'm good. Okay, that's it. When I saw this, Danielle, and we've been covering Donald for now 10 years, I think I said something like, this is one of the most shameful things I've ever seen. And this is on top of all the shameful stuff Donald does. But, being 44 years old, seeing so many of these, I have never in my life seen the president of the United States bring out another dog, J.D. Vance, who has been MIA for the past like 40 days, let's be honest. And both of them ambush another world leader, especially an ally, and then bring in not just, I don't even call him right-wing media, literally Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend was one of the press members now because he's represents some pro-MAGA outlet, and he's the one who like jumps in and says, how come you can't wear a suit? Can't you wear a suit? That was Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend. And Zelensky's like, I'm in a war. We're being invaded. Can you stop lying? Have you been grateful? How come you haven't said thank you? Literally, if you just Google for like 5 seconds Zelensky gratitude on Twitter, you get like 14 tweets, right? And then he's like, I am grateful, I am thankful, a total shakedown. And then I don't know if you saw that photo of Marco Rubio just like literally swallowed up into the couch like Homer Simpson, like that Homer Simpson meme.
Let me tell you something. The opening of SNL, which I don't like. I'm not like an SNL watcher. So I only ever see the clips, but that opening that they did, SNL doesn't even need writers anymore. They just sit and they wait and they watch the news and they read the paper and then they're like, okay, we got this. And let's see if we can just play this for a moment.
Thank you once. This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Never in the history of modern diplomacy, war, peace, whatever, have I ever seen anything like it. Look, from a European and an overseas perspective, what seemed to have happened was this very strange new White House way of having these long and lengthy Oval Office sprays with the press where they do talk for a long time. It's not usual. This is, an accident waiting to happen. You saw the Zelensky handshake as he met with President Trump at the portico. He was incredibly tense. Zelensky's body language, very tense, knew everything that was riding on this meeting. Zelensky's main aim, as he said himself, but I want to ask what the US is prepared to do going forward. And perhaps I need to ask, whose side is the Trump administration on, Ukraine's or Putin's? And I think what you saw in that meeting was much more of the United States administration, the president and the vice president, taking all the Putin talking points.
There you go.
I mean, but we don't even have to wonder. The question didn't even have to be asked. All you have to do is look at Donald Trump's bullshit truth post yesterday, right? Yesterday. We don't even get to rest anymore.
Nope.
Right? It's 7 days a week of nonstop fuckery. But yesterday, he posts, we should spend less time worrying about Putin. Oh, okay. And more time worrying about migrant rape gangs. That's brand new now. Drug lords, murderers, and people from mental health institutions. Did they let you out? Entering our country so that we don't end up like Europe. So now, folks, Europe, the entirety, is also our enemy. It is astonishing where we find ourselves. But I need to play this, Waj, and then you pick it up on the other side.
Tell you and your people, you're the ally I've been hoping for all my life. Not one American has died defending Ukraine. You've taken our weapons and you've kicked their ass. And I'm very proud to have you as our ally. And I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. I think most Americans saw a guy that they would not want to go in business with. The way he handled
Yes, they did. They did see a guy they didn't want to go in business with.
Was just over the top. So I think the relationship between Ukraine and America is important, vitally important. But can Zelensky do a deal with the United States? After what I saw, I don't know.
I mean, shameful. Every single Republican except Lisa Murkowski bent the knee and did a 180. Marco Rubio, who was a complete neutered pet during that meeting, went on CNN that later day and then blamed Zelensky. Lindsey Graham literally did a 180, as you saw, as he's done throughout his entire career, as he's done throughout the entire Trump regime. You had then Mark Thiessen, who's in the Washington Post, echo these talking points. It's the same. It's like once you become a cult member and you make the Faustian bargain that Republicans did, you have to go all in. There's no half-assedness, right? So Donald Trump and JD Vance are now saying that Zelensky has to do more, and then Zelensky should apologize for being berated and humiliated as an ally. Guess what? Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio and everyone else is like, yep, you have to now go do a like, what more do you want him to do? He's literally saying, hey, man, this is in your interest as well. Russia is invading Ukraine, and then after Ukraine, it's not going to stop. It wants to make Russia great again. Putin in 2005, if I recall, I think that was the correct year, said the greatest tragedy in Putin's life was the dissolution of the USSR. That to him is the greatest tragedy, Danielle. And he's like made it his life's mission to make Russia great again. Who are Russia's greatest roadblocks in making Russia great again? The EU, NATO, and US. So how does he get what he wants? Well, maybe compromise the leader of the free world, the most powerful man on earth, Donald Trump, and voila, the entire party will fold like origami. And it's literally, folks, you know, people who are like, oh, Russia, 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 all these Democrats are getting too much into Russia. And I know a lot of friends of mine who are like, I don't know about the Russia stuff, the PP tapes. Is he compromised? I think Democrats are grasping at straws. How do you explain this, Danielle?
So here's my thing, right? Because if you take the sequence of events that happened from Friday, and we are now at Monday, right? We just showed you what Donald Trump posted yesterday. But what happened before that?
There you go.
This.
That's
So
huge.
so folks, just take this in for a moment. The meeting in the Oval Office happens on Friday. By Friday evening, Pete Hegseth reportedly ordered the U.S. military cyber command to, quote, stand down from all planning against Russia. Analysts have been ordered not to follow or report on Russian threats. One inside source said, Putin is on the inside now. I mean, I would argue, when was he not?
That's
When
right.
was he not on the inside? And speaking of the one Republican, right, which, you know, these women from Maine, do you know what I'm saying? I can say a lot of nasty words. I'm going to hold them on the inside. But here is Lisa Murkowski. This week started with administration officials refusing to acknowledge that Russia started the war in Ukraine. Oh, I'm sorry. That's how last week started. Then we ended with knowing who was in charge, and it is not the United States, it's Putin. It ends with a tense, shocking conversation in the Oval Office. I hope she clutched all her pearls. And whispers from the White House that they may try to end all U.S. support for Ukraine, which I don't know, Waj. I think we may have told people that ad nauseum that if Kamala Harris did not win on November 5th, then what would happen to Ukraine? It would fall. And then what would happen to Europe? It would fall. She goes on to say, I know foreign policy is not for the faint of heart, but right now I am sick to my stomach as the administration appears to be walking away from our allies and embracing Putin, a threat to democracy and U.S. values around the world. Where's my fainting couch?
This is the Faustian bargain. Look at what they make you give. Look at what they make you give. At least Murkowski said something, so I give her, I mean, the bar is so low, it's in hell, so I have to give her some credit. What's everyone else's excuse? What's Senator Wicker's excuse? Senator Wicker deleted the photo he had of the bipartisan meeting with of Zelensky. You know, he had a photo up of him like shaking his hand, and after this pylon began, guess what? He deleted the tweet because apparently the Godfather, Donald Trump, and his capo, J.D. Vance, sent the word, hey, Zelensky's one of the bad guys now. You with me or you with Zelensky? And they're like, no, we're with you. And we're now because you're completely in the, pardon my language, I'm fasting, but now that you're completely residing in the anus of Putin, we too will try to reside in the anus of Putin. This is very dangerous, people, because there's a post-World War II order. Flawed, hypocritical, mistakes have been made. Trust me, I'm Muslim, Pakistani, son of immigrants. I know all about American imperialism and colonialism and hypocrisy. But nonetheless, that post-World War II order was established in some semblance to promote freedoms, free speech, democracy, right? To hold the tide against authoritarians, dictators, right? Communist dictators, fascism. That World War II order, which in part is represented by NATO and Europe and Zelensky and Ukraine fighting for their independence and lives after Russia's invasion, illegal invasion, full-out invasion in 2022, that is literally at stake of crumbling. And maybe Danielle has already crumbled because Europe, as of last week, is openly saying, look, incoming German administration, UK, Starmer, Macron, and others, they're huddling up saying, you know what? Not only can we not rely on the United States anymore, U.S. might not be an ally anymore. U.S. actually might be a hostile force against us. So now we have to come together and pool our resources and give more money to military support, which is also a bad thing. And then Zelensky travels to UK, and to make it very clear, I think we have a video of Starmer showing a total 180 different approach to Zelensky than the leader of the free world, Donald Trump.
Well, let me just say that you're very, very welcome here in Downing Street. As you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom. And We stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United Kingdom coming out to demonstrate how much they support you, how much they support Ukraine, and our absolute determination to stand with you, unwavering determination, and to achieve what we both want to achieve, which is a lasting peace for Ukraine based on sovereignty and security for Ukraine. So important for Ukraine, so important for Europe, and so important for the United Kingdom.
I mean, and then I just, you have this, right? You have this greeting from the UK PM, right? Then look at this photo, folks. Like this is the new photo.
Sadly,
These are representatives of the world's democracies. And the United States is no longer in the picture, literally and figuratively. We are no longer in the picture. So much so, and I can't remember which country it was. So forgive me, Waj, maybe you remember. But another European representative said that Europe now needs to build up their military.
Yeah, it was all of them. Yeah, I think it was Starmer,
their
Zelensky.
military reserves, because what they realize now is that the United States does not have their back, as you said, and that not only is the United States most likely, because here's the other thing, folks. Whatever this motherfucker says goes. So Elon Musk now believes that we should leave NATO and leave the UN. So literally, the United Nations, America wants to back out of, and our treaty alliances that were formed after World War II in order to ensure that another Hitler would never happen again. But since it has, and it's in America, and America has the largest, most powerful military that Donald Trump is getting ready to direct at our allies as well as the people of this country. Mein Führer Elon Musk says, back out of it.
Yep.
So America is absolutely, truly, I mean, again, look at this photo. And somebody pointed out in the chat, even Turkey is in the photo with Ukraine. Astonishing.
So who you're talking about, and I just wanted to double check it because I was confident I knew, but I want to double check, was the German foreign minister. And the German foreign minister gave a remarkable 12-minute speech on March 1st, where, I mean, they translated, and if you want to see people translated on Twitter, it's really worth seeing. She says a new era of ruthlessness has begun, and this was after the meeting between Zelensky and Trump. She criticized the White House to portray Zelensky as a perpetrator. She essentially said that the U.S. has fallen to Russia. She also said we have to now build up, support. She urges European nations to start mobilizing now and not wait for the formation, the incoming government of Germany, to prepare for potential war with Russia. And she says a global alliance has to step up to defend Ukraine. Because they realize they could be next, because, World War II, authoritarians, the borders in Europe pretty close. Putin's not going to stop after Ukraine. But I do know about Ukrainians, having talked to them, several of them for the past several years, is to the last kid, to the last woman, to the last elder, they'll fight and they'll die. They're like, if it's stalemate, it's stalemate. They'll kill as many. They literally told me, they're like, we'll kill as many Russians as possible. We're never going to give up. Guess who gives up voluntarily and lies down and bends over? The United States. That Pete Hegseth quote about our cybersecurity, it's literally saying, Russia, come on in. come on in.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
The water's
Attack us.
warm.
Yeah,
The
we'll
water's
give you
warm.
rubles. We'll give you vodka. It's good over here. You want to attack us through cyber attacks? Come on in. You want to interfere in our elections? Go for it. You want to interfere in our allies' elections? Sure. And speaking about making America great again, let's do a recap. Canada, folks, is now openly booing the anthem. WWE was in Toronto over the weekend. Massive boos during WWE. Mike Myers on SNL on Saturday wore a shirt, Canada will not be the 51st state. Mexico, Daniel and I were just talking about this right before we pressed live. Mexico is telling its citizens not to visit Texas. Can you please tell people why, Danielle?
Well, I thought it was just like in general, don't visit Texas. Because it is a bigoted state run by a terrible man. But evidently, because measles, the measles outbreak that is in Texas continues to spread. And so, not great that now we are having countries have travel bans and recommendations to not come. Because here's the thing, and Waj and I, we may have said this last week, that you see all of these things that are moving at breakneck pace, right? You're seeing our economy is destabilizing. The jobless numbers are going through the roof because of all of the federal workers that are being fired, all of the civil servants, those dedicated civil servants that are being fired, who now will no longer have income and the ability to put into the economy, right? Straining. You have all of these federal freezes, right, that are going to be happening to SNAP, to Medicaid, all of these things. There's a huge trickle down effect, right? The other thing that's going to happen, because we have RFK Jr., a man with a worm brain who is now in charge of our public health, all of these incidents, measles, the flu, we'll no longer have new COVID vaccines, no flu vaccines, that people, other nations will start to issue travel advisories, which we just saw, and it won't just be to one state. It will be to the country, because this country is going to be seen as diseased and backwards and dangerous, right? So why would you tell your countrymen to go and visit here? And then when our tourism economy begins to tank, because people will choose to go elsewhere, like Canada or anywhere else, right? Then what will happen?
You mentioned this several months ago, and you brought it up again, and you were on point. Danielle brought this up before the measles outbreak, before the TB outbreak, before polio. She said, other countries will not come here because they will see the United States as a health risk. And now Mexico is like, don't go to Texas, because measles has spread from Texas to New Mexico, has gone up to Kentucky. That's all that we know about, folks. Just wait, maybe give it another 2 weeks. More and more cases are going to pop up. Where are these cases popping up? Red states and red counties that listen to Fox News, and parents did not get their kids vaccinated, and a preventable, highly contagious disease, measles, is now spreading in the United States of America in the year 2025. And as someone mentioned in the chat, guess what? The United States is no longer part of the World Health Organization, because we cut off from that, because we don't want to trust the World Health Organization. We want to fly blind into the virus. We have RFK Jr. literally coughing in our eyeball, and we're like, that'll make us safe. Let's drink some raw milk after that. So this is what happens. You elect stupid, dangerous people. You win stupid, dangerous prizes, like being mocked by the world. The fact that Canada is booing us, Mexico is laughing at us. Speaking about the EU, another quote we forgot is that Donald Trump did another Russian talking point a couple of days ago. This was on, I think, Friday night, Danielle, where he said EU was created just to mock and mess with America. No, it wasn't. What are you talking about? So now EU is our foe, and Donald Trump promised 25% tariffs on the EU, which is now going to force the EU to do what, Danielle?
Put tariffs on our shit too.
And who's going to pay for that, Danielle?
We are, because all tariffs is another way to say taxes. right? It's another word for tax. I want to pause us before we move into our next topic to say that right now we have the most people live that we have ever had. And I want to say that if you are new here to Democracy-ish, we're live on Mondays and Fridays, 12 p.m. Eastern. Hit like, comment, and subscribe. Hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode and support independent media. Subscribe. So, speaking of
3,400. Thank you, folks. I don't know what happened, but I'll take it.
This is very big. I don't know how it happened either, because you guys are just showing up and showing out. But speaking of media, and corporate mainstream media, and why a few thousand of you are here right now and not elsewhere, is because of this.
Yay.
So go ahead, Waj. Tell us about this.
So this is another piece of news. In Donald Trump's America, as everyone bends the knee, it's not just Republicans, but we've seen corporate America, and specifically we've seen corporate media bend the knee. Bezos, just a couple of days ago, announced that the only op-eds that would be allowed are the ones that are pro-free market and pro-individual liberty. We've seen CNN bend the knee in advance and settle a lawsuit that they shouldn't have. ABC settled that lawsuit where George Stephanopoulos literally just said facts about Donald Trump being held liable as a what? Rapist. And the latest, Gannett. Now, Gannett fired, I think this was just shocking, disgusting news. Gannett fires the editorial page editor of the Palm Beach Post, Pulitzer Prize-winning newspaper, after he published a cartoon about the war in Gaza. There have been many incendiary cartoons. So I'm like, this cartoon must have been wild. Do we have a photo of this cartoon?
Of course we do.
I mean, I was like, really? You tell me, Danielle.
So, I mean, here's the cartoon. Some Israeli hostages are home after over a year of merciless war. Watch your step. What are they walking over? Over 40,000 Palestinians killed. Now, what does this cartoon illustrate? The cost and price of this war. One person being carried over tens of thousands of dead bodies. Is this a lie?
It's not even incendiary.
This is what I'm saying. So if something, the purpose, right? The purpose of art and artists and creators in this moment is to help make sense of where we are and what is happening around the world and in this country in a way that people can understand. I understand being fired for libel. I understand being fired for lies. But what about this is a lie? It is the recognition of hostages, right, that are still being held, even though Donald Trump made AI videos of Trump Gaza, literally on top of tens of thousands of bodies. The tastelessness of that man. But like, this is not a lie.
And what makes it worse, you do a little bit of digging. The New York Times did a pretty big story on this. It mentions 8 paragraphs down that editor, if I may, 1 second, he is a Jewish man who says he's pro-Israel. And then the New York Times, I'm sorry, but this hypocrisy gets me, Danielle. Remember how they wagged their fingers, Western media, Republicans, liberals, at Muslims and people of color, and said, you should tolerate the Charlie Hebdo cartoons, even though they're so Islamophobic and so racist. How do you remember that finger wagging, right? And we have to teach you darkies and you Muslims about free speech. And even though we don't like these cartoons, and even though this cartoon is seen as very blasphemous and offensive towards Muslims, and also they have a history of racism, in solidarity with Charlie Hebdo and the free speech and First Amendment, we're going to republish these cartoons. Remember that? Mm-hmm. New York Times didn't publish this cartoon and the huge write-up about the firing. Tell me more about free speech, Danielle.
This is the thing. And I want to play, and I appreciate, thank you, Carol, for posting that quote. The role of the artist is to make the revolution irresistible. by Tony Cade Bambara. Like, I want to play this because last night, right, was the Oscars.
Yep.
And this is the world's, most famous, celebrated people on the planet. And it is one of the world's biggest stages. And last night, the film that won Best Documentary is called No Other Land. And it is a documentary that was co-directed by an Israeli director as well as a Palestinian director about what is happening in Gaza.
The West Bank.
And the
it's occupied West Bank.
Specifically, thank you, the West Bank. Take a listen.
Thank you to the Academy for the award. It's such a big honor for the four of us and everybody supported us for this documentary. About 2 months ago, I became a father, and my hope to my daughter that she will not have to live the same life I'm living now, always fearing settlers' violence, home demolitions, and forest spill displacements that my community, Masafri Yatta, is living and facing every day under the Israeli occupation. No other land reflect the harsh reality that we have been enduring for decades and still persist as we call on the world to take serious actions to stop the injustice and to stop the ethnic cleansing of Palestinian people.
We made this film, Palestinians and Israelis, because together our voices are stronger. We see each other. The atrocious destruction of Gaza and its people, which must end. The Israeli hostages brutally taken in the crime of October 7th, which must be freed. When I look at Bassel, I see my brother, but we are unequal. We live in a regime where I am free under civilian law, and Bassel is under military laws that destroy his life and he cannot control. There is a different path, a political solution without ethnic supremacy, with national rights for both of our people. And I have to say, as I am here, the foreign policy in this country is helping to block this path. And, why? Can't you see that we are intertwined? That my people can be truly safe if Bassel's people are truly free and safe. There is another way. It's not too late for life, for the living. There is no other way. Thank you.
I just thought this was so extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell you, and I tell folks this all the time, I had the distinct honor of going to Israel and Palestine in 2015, 10 years ago, on a journalist retreat to understand more firsthand what was happening in this region of the world. And as a Black queer woman going on this trip and looking around, I could not understand how they even knew who to hate. Because to me, as a Black woman living in the United States, a Black queer woman, it is very clear who is Black and who is white, who is of darker skin and who is not. So from jump, you're not like me, so I hate you, right? That's how you're taught in the United States based on skin color and gradation of melanin. So when I get to this place and I'm looking around and I'm saying, how the fuck do you know who to kill? Because you all look like you are related. Because in fact, as they said in their speech, they are. Right? And it is just extraordinary. Extraordinary. The way that the world makes things so much more complex than they need to be. If you believe in freedom, then you cannot put an asterisk by that. That only people who look like you, love like you, pray like you are deserving of freedom. If you believe in justice, you cannot put an asterisk by that and say that I only believe in justice for these people and not those people. You have got to be complete in your convictions. Otherwise, they are not convictions. They are just opinions. So to me, folks, it is a gut check moment when you say that you believe in justice and freedom for all people, but then want to put out caveats for Palestinians, pull out caveats for trans people, pull out caveats, right? For those who you don't fully understand. All you need to understand is what justice means. All you need to understand is what it means to be human. And you cannot have asterisks and caveats for that, because otherwise you are truly not in the struggle for equality and freedom.
Amen, Danielle Moodie. You were served a Danielle Moodie sermon, folks, on a Monday afternoon. Right before No Other Land won, I just happened to do a tweet. I didn't know the best documentary feature was coming up, saying, has anyone in the Academy Awards done anything to talk about the moment? And, then the universe gifted me this. And I was like, my wife and I were watching with a friend of mine, because we just came home, we opened our fast. And we're like, No Other Land should win. Will it win? Because of the politics in Hollywood. And I said, if No Other Land wins, a movie which, folks, listen to what I'm about to say, just won Best Picture at the Oscars for documentary, has won a slew of awards, universally acclaimed. Danielle, can you tell me who's distributing No Other Land?
Hold on, because the number is so big. 0.
No distributor.
Cannot see this film in the United States anywhere or on streaming because not one distributor wanted to touch it.
Why? Because of politics and power. However, Andrew Breitbart, yes, that Breitbart, said something that has been very salient. He said, and he figured this out early, which has helped MAGA, and Democrats used to know this, but Democrats, he said, politics is downstream from culture. And what you saw yesterday with No Other Land, winning at the Academy Awards, folks, I don't think it's a stereotype or a controversial statement to say that the entertainment industry in particular is loath to promote Palestinians, has had a problem with people of color, especially Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims, and, historically has been very pro-Israel, right? I don't think most people in the comments or chats are going to be that surprised by that comment. I can tell you from my experience of working within the entertainment industry. No Other Land, as Danielle said, has 0 distributors, and that movie won. And that's a sign the culture is striking back. And I'm telling you, Danielle, once people saw that there were shockwaves, that No Other Land won an Oscar during Trump presidency, where he just put out an AI-generated slop, which is so offensive, I don't even want to talk about it, when he's going to make America great again. He says it's America first. But guess where we're sending billions of dollars as of the weekend? Israel, Netanyahu, a war criminal, where he's aligned with Russia, Putin, Netanyahu, and Orban at the expense of everyone else. But the culture is saying, we've got something to say as well. And speaking about the culture, I also want to give a shout out, because I think she was the only person who did it. And look at the response. Good old Daryl Hannah. All Gen Zs, all millennials and Gen Xers celebrate.
Slava Ukraine. The world.
This is, and she was, she was called everything outside her name yesterday on social media for that greeting.
By MAGA.
Right? Of course, by MAGA. She doesn't care about Ukraine. She only wants to stick it to Trump. Everything is not about that motherfucker.
She didn't say Trump. She didn't say Republicans.
She didn't say Trump. She didn't say Republican. She didn't say anything. other than show her support and solidarity like the rest of the world outside of the United States now has done. And I just want to say, I want to go back for just a quick moment to that spineless piece of trash, Lindsey Graham, who had the audacity to say that he was speaking on behalf of all Americans who were outraged over the display that they saw in the Oval Office. Oh, yes, Lindsey, we were outraged, right? We were outraged that that piece of trash, those two men, are the president and vice president of these United States. And to say, I want to say this too. President Zelensky should not be embarrassed. He was not the one who was humiliated, right? It was Donald Trump and JD Vance and the American people who should feel humiliated, because it was 80 million people who voted for that man to represent us.
Yep.
So you look at this and you see, right, how Waj and I like to go through this show is to give you the news and to give you the facts, but to also move us through a place where we are seeing people become activated.
That's right.
Day by day. Now, there are some folks that will say, well, it's too late. It's never too late to fight for justice. It gets harder, right? Would have been easier if the Vice President Kamala Harris had been sworn in as President of the United States. But then I would argue that a majority of Americans, Waj, I think, would have gone back to sleep.
Yeah, I agree.
They would have done the same pat on their backs that we did with Obama. Look, he's our reparations, is what Mitch McConnell said to Black people. We don't need to fight for freedom or justice or anything like that anymore. Supreme Court gutted Civil Rights Act. Look, you got a Black man. So you people don't need protection anymore. So you see here, sometimes, and I wrote a piece that is up on my Substack right now that said, America is dead. Now what? Right? Because the truth is that what we witnessed on Friday shows us that America is in fact dead. But I believe that sometime the burning down of something isn't just about the trauma of the thing. It is a necessary clearing and cleansing that needs to happen in order to create fertile ground. Americans are waking up every single day because the country that they knew is now gone. And so what we do now, right, as it burns down around us, is going to determine what happens for future generations. That's the truth. But it's like you have to go through this grieving process of the loss of America. But I say, yes, grieve it and then move to a place of acceptance so then we can figure out the pathway forward.
And it is, things are, folks, Danielle and I are never those to lie to you and say, oh, look, there's a comet in the sky. Don't worry about it. We're also not the ones to say, oh, there's a comet in the sky. Just take medication and booze and soma and forget your troubles. I'm one of those people who says, okay, there's a comet in the sky. The comet is coming. My job is to warn everyone. No one listens to me because, of course, I'm a brown man. Daniel's a Black woman. I was joking to Mehdi Hassan yesterday. Like, people are coming up to us now and they're like, did you know it'll get this bad? We're like, yes, we did. We spent the past 2 years warning you. No one listened to us. But then our job is to be like, all right, let's find a way to friggin' break that comet in half and also protect us and do what we can with our hands with the time that we have left to promote life, right? You have limited time on this earth, and we have a force that is actively against us that wants to send us back to the 19th century. So what are you going to do? You can tap out. You can say everything is fine when it's not, or you can give up. I'm not one for giving up. I'm not one for tapping out. And if you think we're just joking about this, this is a news item that should have been leading news, but because, I don't know, measles, the breakup of the post-World War II order, Trump being Russia's agent, Elon Musk and his family getting, literally, do you see that last night? Elon Musk and his family on a U.S. helicopter being flown to the White House where he's going to stay. That means your taxpayer dollars paid for Elon Musk, the one kid that he likes, and his mom, who for whatever reason, this private citizen is staying at the White House and no one cares. It's just some of the things that are top of my head. But this also happened. This is a real post. Danielle, tell him.
Yeah. So, executive order, March 1st, designating English as the official language of the United States, which is funny because Donald Trump doesn't actually speak it. Right? I guess it should actually say designating gibberish and fuckery as the official language of the United States, because that would be more accurate.
But check out the what they wrote. This is the White House.
America is so back. Back to what? Back to the 19th century with our 19th century diseases and viruses?
America's so back, literally the world laughing at us, literally the world retaliating with tariffs that are unnecessary, literally Mexico telling people not to go here, literally Canada booing our national anthem, literally joblessness going up, literally death and disease becoming rampant, literally planes landing upside down. How are we back?
Upside down.
How are we back?
I saw something. I saw a cartoon that said that it was a cartoon, folks. So this didn't actually happen. But Donald Trump saying, "Oh, it doesn't matter. The planes are landing upside down. At least your luggage will land in your lap."
Oh, that was SNL.
Oh, was it SNL?
Yeah.
Okay, that was SNL. And
that
I
was the
like,
SNL opening. Goes, at least the planes in the luggage will land right in your lap. You can save time.
crying.
Guys, Mike Myers, I mentioned this earlier before, not really known for his political stances. He played Elon Musk, speaking of SNL. We timed that up perfectly. And that he played Elon Musk very well. I don't know if you saw that, but Elon Musk had a glitch. I don't know if you've seen that, but you could check it out. Like, he has a glitch during that opening. He goes, glitch. It was a great Elon Musk impression. And then at the end, if you've seen SNL before, you know, the host thanks everyone. It's right up in front of the camera. Mike Myers right next to the host, Shane Gillis. Boom. Canada is not for sale. The culture is fighting back. Dana Miliband, Washington Post, right? Look at this snarky thing. Here's the real threat to personal liberties and free markets. He puts it in quotes. Why? Because Bezos says the opinion section will only be about pro-personal liberties and pro-free markets. So Dana says the rapidly spreading authoritarianism coming from this Trump administration threatens all of our freedoms. And speaking about the people fighting back, you know, Alex Winter, an acquaintance, you know, he watches us, reads us. Bill and Ted, he's Ted from Bill and Ted, actor turned filmmaker turned activist, has really been at the forefront of launching these national anti-Tesla campaigns. And I don't know if you saw on the weekend, MAGA was losing its mind, Danielle, saying poo, poo, poo to these libs. How dare they take over a New York Tesla showroom? And I said, oh, maybe they should have worn MAGA hats and attacked cops with flags and tried to smear poop in the U.S. Capitol, because then they'd be heroes and they'd be pardoned. But these are average Americans, folks, who took over a Tesla showroom. And if we could pivot outside and show you outside, whole bunch of people outside. This is happening, Danielle, all across the country.
Yeah, because you know what? Like I said, little by little, day by day, people inside of the United States are waking up. And sometimes, folks, you know, look, people always try and look for meaning, right? In moments of trauma and devastation. And if you are a person that is seeking meaning, right, it is that we have been complacent. Too many Americans have believed that democracy would just continue to work without you actually having to put in any effort, put in any skin in the game, that things would just continue to move along on the tracks. And what Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and MAGA Republicans have done is disrupt and destroy the entire system. Now, we know we are Black and brown. We are well aware that democracy has been ish for a long time. And that what Democrats have done is just iterate off of the status quo. And so you have to look at this moment and say, you know what? If we are ever to have radical change, real radical, sustainable change in this country, then everybody needs to wake the fuck up. And sometimes you only wake up after everything is gone.
That's right. I got to do one more about people waking up. This one.
Please.
We're back, right? America, we're so back. America first. America's great again. Can you tell us what a Norwegian private company did over the weekend, Danielle?
One of Norway's largest marine fuel companies just announced that they will no longer refuel U.S. Navy vessels after Trump's treatment of Zelensky. It made us sick. We encourage all Norwegians and Europeans to follow our example. And they wrote this: we have today been witness to the biggest shit show ever presented live on TV by the current American president and his vice president. Huge credit to the president of Ukraine restraining himself and for keeping calm even though USA put on a backstabbing TV show. It made us sick. Short and sweet. As a result, we have decided to immediately stop as fuel provider to American forces in Norway and their ships calling Norwegian ports. No fuel to Americans. We encourage all Norwegians and Europeans to follow our example. Slava Ukraine.
And then I showed this, but I had to show it again. JD Vance, for some reason, is vacationing 1 month in, even though he does no work. And he went to a blue state.
Seen him in a month. So
yeah, he went to a blue state, and as soon as he landed, lining up the streets, man, he did not get a pleasant response. Like, this was literally everywhere, and this was the nicest one. I showed. Whew, they went after him. Look, the culture fights back, folks. They will do their utmost to try to chokehold us back to the 19th century. You think I'm joking? I'm not. The Wisconsin Supreme Court battle in April for the control of the Supreme Court is huge. Elon Musk has spent millions of dollars. The person who he wants is a hardcore, open MAGA Trump supporter, has bent the knee to Donald Trump, wants to take Wisconsin back to 1849 abortion laws. Okay. They want to drag us back, but it's up to us whether or not we willingly go back like sheep or we stand up and resist. I think Danielle and I have been very honest in that we don't know if the revolution, and I'm talking about the revolution that is necessary for us to finally throw off greed, throw off immoral capitalism, to throw off racism, misogyny, indecency, to make this country literally perform the way it presents itself around the world, to truly be a country for the free, right? To truly be a country of meritocracy, where everyone has a chance, right? I don't know if Danielle and I are going to see that America in our lifetime. I don't think I will in my lifetime. I think this is a generational project. And, you know, people say, well, things got to get worse before they get better. Sometimes things get worse. And I think people are realizing in real time, Danielle, that once you elect a Russian bull and unleash him in the China shop, it's hard to rebuild. I'll give you an example. Doge, the doggy boys, fired hundreds of experts who overlook our nuclear stockpile weapons. Mm-hmm. They are having a hard time rehiring the people they just fired. Mm-hmm. They fired experts looking over bird flu. They're having a hard time rehiring those people. Elon Musk lied and said, we've temporarily stopped Ebola prevention. They have a hard time restarting it, right? So what I'm trying to tell people with eyes wide open, Danielle, the damage is going to be done. The damage is going to be severe. Anyone who thinks we're going to go back to normal, there's no more normal. Europe has figured it out. The post-World War II order is completely changing. It's a brave new world for better and for worse, right? For better and for worse. So right now we're seeing the worst, but it can be made better based on what we do with the time that we have. Even though, Danielle, we might not be alive to see it. And I'll say it's Ramadan, so I'm in a Ramadan type of mood. I feel like at this stage of my life, 44, 3 kids, the utter devastation that I think is going to happen to America, it's already happened. It's only been 40 days. I think it's going to get far worse, Danielle, is if we nonetheless do the work, the rebuilding effort will be generational. It'll take time. But guess what? You know, there's the story of Moses. Moses led his people out. Moses threw down the staff and took on the Pharaoh and all his wealth and his magicians. But Moses, according to Islam, and I think also according to Jewish traditions, never got to the promised land. Moses died before he got to Jerusalem. The people eventually made it. Moses never made it. I think about that a lot, Danielle. Maybe I won't make it, but maybe with whatever time I have left, if I do the work, maybe our kids can make it and things can be better.
Let's just, folks need to understand you don't always get to enjoy the fruit of the seeds that you plant. That is just reality. And so if you can remove yourself and your ego and your own needs in this moment from it of what I need to see justice. I need to do this, and understand that right now, folks, all of us are planters. All of us are farmers.
Yep.
What are the seeds that you are putting into the ground, right? That will gain nutrients and grow generations from now. That is our work, right? If you are middle-aged or older, then you've enjoyed a good amount of your life inside of a democracy. Bravo. The generation coming after you and generations coming after you will not, unless we do the work today. That is the reality. You do not always, right, get to reap what you sow. You don't. So, I just, again, I want, this was a fantastic show. I thank you, Waj, always so much. I could not ask for a better co-host and a better partner in this moment, truly.
Danielle is contractually obliged to say that.
I am not.
It's Evelyn's birthday today, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Evelyn.
Pisces.
Yesterday.
Pisces. So here's what I will say as we close out today. This is independent media, friends, and we continue to build from the ground up. And you all are showing out in numbers that today, for whatever reason, I appreciate. If this is a glitch, I'm going to appreciate a good one. And I ask humbly that you like, comment, and subscribe, that you hit subscribe on this channel and support independent media, independent voices, because as you can see, mainstream corporate media can no longer be trusted and is no longer dedicated to truth, honesty, democracy, and justice, right? We are. And for those that gave donations to us, every dollar goes
Julie,
to,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Every dollar that you send, every 99 cents, everything that you spare in these really difficult times goes an incredibly long way to having us be able to build and put out the type of content that you all deserve. And so we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the continued support, the sharing that you do on your own platforms when this show goes up, goes a long way. And so together we will continue to build, we will continue to create, we will continue to show up. And that is our pledge to all of you. And thank you so much to our extraordinary moderators, Deb and Susan, who are just doing the Lord's work in the comment section, trying to keep out the trolls and keep this a community that is welcoming to all people. All the time. And I mean all people all the time, even those that don't agree with us. Unless you start saying some nasty shit, you are absolutely welcome.
Yeah, come on by.
You're welcome to come on by, so long as you can behave yourselves. And
also Danielle, how many subscribers do you have now?
We are over 15,000. I think that we are at 15.1 as of the weekend. We're gonna keep churning and burning. I'm hoping to see 20,000 soon, and I think that we will.
Next step is 20, and the sharing goes a long way. So once this gets published in about 30 seconds, if you can share it on Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, wherever, it goes a long way. And then finally, Danielle is finally on Substack. Go to her Substack and subscribe. Danielle and I are masochists, and we're fools and terrible capitalists. So we've decided, like idiots, not to have paywalls, even though we need to eat. So all of Danielle's content is free. All of my content is free. But similarly, if you subscribe, it's for free. And for me, folks, I've kept it. I think it's one of the cheapest Substacks because I'm an idiot. My dad just calls me every day. He goes, "Why? Just please."
Why?
He goes, "Why?" So it's the lefthook.substack.com. It's like $5 a month, $50 for the year. And Danielle has a new Substack. What is it, Danielle?
My Substack, is the Damn Digest. Again, all of my content is free, but I put up people have asked that they are looking to support, find a way to support monthly, then by all means subscribe. There are levels that are on there, but just know that if you become a paid subscriber, again, it goes an incredibly long way in helping us being able to do our work. But know that we don't believe in paywalls. My God, thank you, Mary. We don't believe in paywalls because information should not be placed behind a wall. So if you are choosing to be a paid subscriber, if you're choosing to donate to us, know that it goes an extraordinarily long way so that we can continue to put out the content that you all deserve. And we just, we appreciate you all. We appreciate you all so very much. So thank you for listening to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moodie.
And I'm Wajahat Lee, and we will be back Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time.
We will see you then. If in fact, because who the fuck knows these days, friends, if we have a country left. Inshallah. See you then. Take care of yourselves.